Now the question is, what happens if I've got a push button that only has 2 lugs? Well, that's a bit hard for you to see, so let's zoom that in for you a bit. That's a bit better, nice and zoomed in. Now we can all see what's going on. What's happening, guys? Scott from A Hornet's Nest, and welcome back to Tutorial Tuesday. It is so good to see you, and in today's episode, we're busy fixing up a C-130 button box that I've made, and we're going to be replacing a couple of push buttons. And while I'm at it, I'm going to be telling you the difference between a normally open and normally closed push button, and does it really matter with what we're doing. So, to show you what we're busy building on here, we've got a replica aerial delivery panel that you would find in the center pedestal of the cockpit, a cargo jettison panel, which you'd find in the Loadmaster section, and a takeoff panel, which has gear, flap, and a hydraulic pump switch, everything you're going to need to be able to single pilot a C-130. So if there's enough interest, let me know in the comments below, and I'll create a tutorial on how to make these, and I'll then make the plans available for free on Colts 3D if you search A Hornet's Nest. So to get into it, let's unscrew the aerial delivery panel and start pulling out these push buttons. Alright, so we can lift off the box here, and then what we've got going is a circuit board that I've pre-made, which has a shield on for an Arduino Pro Micro. And the reason I use those, nice and small, I didn't need a ton of pins, otherwise I would have used just the micro that we used in the episode 1 and 2. Now, all we've got to do is unplug the jump indicator cable, then we can unscrew it from the back. Now that we've got the green jump push button indicator off, we're going to need to pull off its lens, because I've got a laser engraved the word on into it, and we're going to replace it with the bright green one on this new 5-volt switch. So, go. The 5-volt and the 12-volt lens is the same in both switches. They're the exact same switch dimensions, it's just the power of the bulb in them that is different. So that allows us to interchange these lenses quite easily without having to repaint and remake them. There we go. So we're going to cut off the connector from our old switch, and we're going to put that on our new one. So before we get going, we do need to know the difference between normally opened and a normally closed push button. And we're talking about the internal circuitry state of the push button when it's in its resting position. A normally open push button when it's resting, as in the push button isn't depressed, or the circuitry is open, it's not connected, the circuit isn't working. As soon as you push the push button, it closes that circuit up, allowing electricity to flow, and you can then get readings out of your push buttons, or you can connect light switches to a light. You can also find these in limit switches, and they generally come with 3 terminal lugs, and you can choose what orientation you want them to be in. And in a normally closed circuit, when it's resting, the circuit's all closed up, electricity is flowing, and as soon as it actuates, it breaks that circuit, it opens it up, causing electricity to stop. So, why is that important to us? it is important because we need to know what we're talking about, and we need to know what's going to happen as soon as we actuate, because it's going to come in handy when you're debugging your code. But in the sense of getting the correct switch or soldering the correct lug, the best thing about us using Arduino coding is we can code those errors out of it. The switch isn't the sole logic behind what's happening on our circuits and in our game devices. If this was connecting to a light, yeah, we'd probably need to know exactly what lug we're soldering up, but for us, any switch would do. Now the question is, what happens if I've got a push button that only has 2 lugs? Like these little ones, and we used this in the F5 armament panel in episode 1 and 2. Well, that's a bit hard for you to see, so let's zoom that in for you a bit. That's a bit better, nice and zoomed in. Now we can all see what's going on. When you have a push button like this, and it might be a different shape, but we use this style in our F5 armament panel, you can see it's only got 2 lugs. So what do you classify it as? Well, when it's only got 2, treat it like a normally open switch unless it's stated otherwise, because when you compress it or you push the button in, it's going to connect the 2 terminals, allowing your circuit to be closed and electricity to flow. So now that we've got that out the way, let's get back into building our C-130 panel. I'm going to put a picture up on the screen now of what the back of these switches look like, and you can see that I'm going to be connecting this as a normally closed switch. And the reason I do that is we're using Arduino's internal pull-up resistor, and a normally closed circuit allows it to read respectively to what we're doing. I want it to read 1 or high when the switch is pressed, and I want it to read 0 when the switch is released. So let's get into connecting those, and then I'm also going to connect up these 2 side terminals, the positive and the negative, so we can have the light turn on when the switch is pushed in. So what I'm busy doing now is I'm busy connecting the negative terminal, which the LED light is attached to the common terminal. Now when you do this, use a nice long piece of stripped wire so you don't have to try to do brain surgery on small bits of wire, except that you're going to lose a little bit in the process. That way it's not going to annoy you too much. Alrighty, so what we've done is we've finished soldering up this switch. Now I'm going to go put up a picture so you can see exactly what the back of this looks like, so you can follow along at home, because trying to get this on camera is far too small and I don't have any other big push buttons ready to go. So let's go put this in our panel. Let's bring it back over here. Alrighty, so we can unscrew the backing, and we just got to take this square washer off. When you do make the lug connectors for the LED light, just make sure it's nice and compact so you can be able to screw this holding nut back on. If you make it too big or you make them just messy, it's going to be a nightmare to try to get this back through. Okay, and that can just connect straight back into the jump cable, and we've already gone and off camera done the caution on. That's looking good. Screw these back in and then we're good to go. Now the only improvements I need to make on the C-130 box is I need to finish off making the vinyl caution stripes for the alarm, and I want to put the caution stripes and the shape properly on the push button cover for the shoe release. There we got it, the C-130 button box back in action, ready to go for our next mission on DCS. Quick refresher on what we did. We changed these 2 push buttons to their 5-volt equivalent so it can match the Arduino's power source. Now, normally open switches, which we generally find in 2-terminal push buttons, such as the one here for the shoot release, or our big one here for the F5, treat them as normally open. When they are resting, the circuit is open and nothing's flowing. What we did here though was we've made these normally closed, because that's the best option to use with Arduino's internal pull-up resistor as the pin mode, because when the circuit is resting, it's closed, connected to ground, reading as a 0, and then when you push them in, it breaks that circuit open, allowing the pull-up resistor to bring it high, causing it to read as a 1. And it's a bit more intuitive when you're coding. So yeah, if you like that, or even if you want to see one of these, let me know in the comments below. Just a quick tutorial to get you through the week. And if I do get enough interest, I will make this a tutorial by itself and give you those design files as well. So, as always, enjoy your flight simming, stay safe, and I will see you in the next video.